My name is Daniel Scott, and this is Average Joga. In the other video that we did mostly standing postures. Well, in this video, we're going to do mostly seated postures. Does that mean it's going to be more relaxed and more passive? Perhaps. But in order to really look at what we're going to do, this is not about how much energy or how hard or how far our folds can be or how much release we can give ourselves. It's really simply about feeling good in the practice. So at any time you need to pause, rewind, and repeat what you're doing, fantastic. You should do it. You're in control. I'm just a guy talking at you. It's up to you to listen and take what you like, leave what you don't, and build your practice from the ground up. To that point, let's find a nice way to get towards the ground. So you're going to want to find a way to sit down. Real easy, real simple. Now, sitting comfortably can be super uncomfortable sometimes. So we're going to use our bricks to make that happen. If you have a brick, of course, make sure you have something to sit on at home. If you don't, go hit pause and do that. Also, you want a strap as well. Take a brick. If you need to take 2 bricks, you can do that as well. And you're going to sit the tailbone onto the top of the brick. You can take the heels in towards the sides. Good. And you want to feel the shoulders are over the hips. If you feel like it's really rounding, bring up more padding. If you don't feel like you need the padding, you can lower it down. And if you can, try to have the knees towards touching. It might not actually happen, but if you can have the legs turned in and the feet need to turn out, that's fine too. You should feel very little discomfort here. Take one hand to the navel, one hand to the heart, and if you can, let the eyes close and just listen to my voice. Inhale and exhale long and deep at your own pace in your own time. As you do this, breathe into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest, and exhale from the chest through the ribs into the belly. Maybe this is a 3-part breath, maybe this is a 2-part breath, or maybe this is just breathing. Yoga is simply an awareness of movement, an awareness of movement of energy. So right now, your breath is the energy that you're focusing on. Shoulders soften, navel gently engaged, spine long. Chin is not lifting or lowered, it is simply floating gently. Eyes, if they were open, would be gazing forward. Let your ears soften, let your elbows hang. Take one more breath in and out at your own pace in your own time. Now, if you are on bricks and you want to, you can change if the hips start to open up over time, let the hands relax. I'm going to take one brick out for me personally, but you guys don't have to if you don't want to. And then from here, raise the arms above the head. Now, shoulders are going to reach down the spine. Turn the elbows, the creases of the elbows inward. Turn the palms inward. Begin to lift the chin and lower the chin slowly. Lifting the chin, lowering the chin. As that happens, if the arms hang above you is starting to shake, you can take the arms wider than the shoulders, so you can draw the shoulders up to the ears and shoulders down the spine. You can create a bit more space in the back. Inhale, lift the chin. Exhale, lower the chin. Now start lowering your right hand towards the ground and extend your left arm up. Breath in here and then exhale. Start walking the right hand out farther away and move the left hips towards the left as the shoulder starts to go towards the ground. If you have another brick and you want to take the hand onto the brick, go ahead and do that. You can have the hand pressing down, you can bend the elbow, and you can extend long. Try not to have the top shoulder fold forward. Try to have the top shoulder stay stacked over the bottom. Inhale, extend through that top hand as you draw the shoulder down the spine. And then exhale, try to relax and release a bit. If you want to take the top hand behind the head so you can extend from the armpit to the elbow, that works too. You can press into the ground or into the brick to bring the shoulders back over the hips. You can change bricks on the side if you want. Take your right arm up. Take your right arm over. Have the right hip move out towards the right as the navel draws in. The side bodies, the right side body lengthens, and the left side body doesn't shrink, it simply leans. And if you can, press down through the ground or down through the brick to help extend more on the opening side. And if you want to take the top hand behind the head, go for it. Breath in, breath out. There's ways to deepen this. You can always reach the arm out. You can always fold forward. But at this time, go with your breath and not against it. Bring the shoulders back up. If you don't need the brick, go back to the first side. And do this one more time to each side. Now, on this next round, if you have the hand behind the head, good. If not, do it. Then take that top elbow, that left elbow, point it forward, and then begin to point it downward towards the bottom hand. Navel draws in. Just until you feel your lower back starts to say, hey, this is great. You want to find a little bit of a stretch here. If you want to make it less intense, you can take that hand closer to your ankle and continue to fold forward. Breath in, breath out. Shoulders back above the hips. Switch sides, take the right hand behind the head, take the left hand to the ground. Breath in, find extension. And then exhale, you can take that right elbow forward, right elbow down, and draw the navel in to support the lower back as you begin to fold gently forward towards your side body. Inhale and exhale. Slowly bring it back towards a tall spine. Take the hands down, then take their hands to the thighs. Tuck the chin, navel draws in. If you can take your fingers over the tops of the knees and then round through the back, chin towards the navel. Tailbone points forward to the knees. Breath in, chest lifts, shoulders to the ears. Exhale, shoulders down the spine. Chin lifts a little bit higher. Elbows hug in towards the side body. Point your tailbone back. It might be a very small movement. Navel draws in. We're doing a cat and cow with our shoulders up, seated. Chin tucks, navel draws in, round through the spine. If you need another brick, we can get that for you. Good. See, this man knows what he needs. More bricks. Round through the. If you need more bricks at home, just send me an email. It's ds@danielscottyoga.com. I'll get you a good deal on bricks. I can have them shipped to you. Round through the spine. Come back to center. One more time. Lift the chest, lift the chin. Rounding through the back. Now, if you're just starting to get comfortable, this is where it gets kind of funny. I want you to start lifting the hips above the knees. Scoot the tailbone back and get your hands under your shoulders. Now, if you want to continue to do that cat-cow stuff here, lifting the chin, lifting the tailbone, move from the core. Rounding the spine, arching the back, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin. It's going to take you a moment or two to get there. It's fine. There's no rush. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, toes tucked in the back. And remember, don't move from the neck. Don't move from the tailbone. Move by engaging the muscles that move the bones. So extend through the hands. Spread the fingers wide. And let the core be the focus of the movement. Now, before we just did, arching and rounding, but come back to a neutral. So the shoulders are over the wrists, the hips are over the knees. Take a breath in here, and on the exhale, draw the navel in, and then try to shrink the side body from the rib to the hip so that the tailbone points to the right, like you're wagging your tail to the right. Bring it back to neutral here, and then wag your tail to the left. But don't move the tailbone to do it. Engage the core so the tailbone moves. Do this a few times, maybe 2, maybe 3 times at your own pace, in your own time, no rush. And think about extending through the elbows to strengthen the hands and engage the shoulders so you don't collapse in the upper body. And then from here, so to take the tailbone towards the heels, drop the forehead to the ground. It's a gentle child's pose. Now, if you untuck the toes, this might make it a bit more comfortable. And if you can't get the hips down all the way, don't worry about it. Just lower it for one breath. And then inhale, navel draws in, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. And then exhale, lift the chin, bend the elbows back slightly and lower the chest as far forward as you can until you feel like you're going to die. If you don't feel like you're going to die, then go all the way down. Otherwise, just hold that space. Extend through the arms, lift up, tuck the chin, round it back, child's pose. So we're going to move a few times forward and back, just warming up the shoulders, warming up the hips, warming up the core. Going with the breath and not against it. I say that often, and it's a really important thing to think about. If you hold your breath during the movement, you're going to force the movement. or you can keep the breath flowing, there's a good chance the movement will flow too. So the next time you're able to get the chest towards the thumbs and the chin lifted, you're going to be in a pose called knees, chest, and chin. Big surprise. Extend the legs back, drop the hips. Now for here, if you need to make any adjustments to make this comfortable, if you know what I mean, go ahead and do it. Untuck the toes, feet flat on the ground. I'm going to take one of your bricks back now. Thank you. I'll take this one. This one's pretty. If you need to have the hands on bricks to make this more intense, you can. Otherwise, just take the elbows under the shoulders. Aha, tricked you. Palms down, shoulders down the spine. Now look down between the thumbs. Navel draws in, shoulders to the ears, shoulders down the spine. Begin to press into the hands and extend the arms. If this is too much in your lower back, don't extend all the way. If you want to take the hands farther forward for less lower back, that's fine too. But keep your eyes on your thumbs. Lower the elbows. If you want to lower the forehead, you can do that. And we're going to work on just opening up the upper back and the chest. Keep the navel drawn in. Gently press into the hands. Eyes gaze forward, maybe. And then lower the elbows. Eyes can look back down. And the closer you have the hands to the shoulders, the higher the chest is going to lift. So that's up to you to decide how far you want to go. Maybe one more time. Repositioning the hands, navels drawing in, lifting the chest, and then lowering it back down. Take the hands back under the shoulders, elbows in, tuck the toes. Now, we're going to try to go from this position all the way to a plank, which is the top of the push-up. So you might need to push through the arms to straighten. And if this is too much for you, keep the knees down and keep pressing through the core and the arms to lift up shoulders and then extend legs. So we're going to do this a few times. You can do a full slow lowering down with the body straight or drop the knees, slowly lower the chest between the thumbs. And then extend the arms high, extend the arms fully, and then the legs. Now, one thing you can work on here is not moving from the chin. So keep the eyes looking down so the neck is in line with the spine, and do this 2 or 3 more times, building a little bit of strength in the shoulders. If you feel the shoulders starting to curl forward, try to lift the shoulders back towards the hips so you don't round through the upper back. Now, the next time you come to a plank position, hang out here for like a breath or 3, drop the knees, lower the hips back to the heels, but keep the toes tucked. Now, as soon as the hips get back towards the heels, keeping the arms as straight as possible, extend the legs as much as you can and go towards what we call a downward facing dog. Now, if you have very tight hips, keep the knees bent. Extend through the arms as best you can. Try to keep all 5 fingers on each hand strong and long. Take the hands slightly wider than the shoulders. Take your feet slightly narrower than the hips. If you feel like you're way too far from the front of your mat, walk your feet forward or walk your hands back. You should feel somewhat comfortable. Now, keeping the knees, a good amount of bend in the knees is nice. So you can have the ribs as close to the thighs as you want. It'll help you keep the ears in line with the biceps. Breath in, breath out. Begin to lower the knees back to the ground. Lower the tailbone back to the heels. And then lower the forehead back to the ground. Breath in, navel draws in, roll the shoulders over the hands, tucking the toes, taking the hips back towards the heels gently to press into the feet to lift the knees, go back to downward facing dog. You can take a breath or 2 in downward facing dog and then slowly lower the knees back to the ground, lower the tailbone back to the heels, and then lower the forehead back to the mat. Do this a couple times. From the child's pose through to the tabletop, from the tabletop back to downward facing, from downward facing to tabletop, which is head, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and then from that back to the child's pose. So we're just learning how to use the muscles to move the bones, how to warm the shoulders up, how to warm the hips up. And by the time you get to the next downward facing dog, hang out in your downward facing dog. Now, when you're just starting out this practice, downward facing dog is not really much of a rest pose as it is just something that feels like you have to work it really hard. So how can you soften the things that are tough? And how can you bring strength and awareness to the things that use it, or that could use it, I should say. So 1 or 2 more breaths here. Spread the fingers. Try to extend through the backs of the knees if it's possible. Otherwise, you can keep a small bend there just to feel happy. Now from here, take your left forward, step it 1 step forward, and then try to step your right foot as far to the forward of your mat between your hands as possible. And then turn your left heel inward so it lines up with the front heel. And take your fingers, interlace them onto the knee, extend the arms, and try to find as long a line as you can from your shoulders through your hips to your back heel. Spread your toes. Make sure the front knee is over the front heel. Good. Grounding down to the back heel. Great. Square the hips off to the front of the mat. So if your feet are very narrow, it might be hard. So take your right foot out to the right. Take your left foot out to the left. If you need to shorten the stance, go for it. And then extending through those arms to lift the chest a bit, take the arms in line with the ears. And then lift the chest so the chest is over the hips. Warrior 1. Now, Warrior 1, if you feel like you're starting to choke yourself off because the arms are trying to reach up, soft bend in the elbows, palms turn in, thumbs turn back. Let the shoulders melt down the spine. Have the shoulders stack in the same direction as the hips. So that front hip is gently rotating back, the back hip is gently rotating forward. And even here, take this foot a little wider to the outside, to the long edge of the mat, and this might help you rotate that more. Good. Bend the knee in the front. Fantastic. Breath in here. Gentlemen, this is what's going to happen, or ladies, whoever's practicing. Extend the front leg. You're going to rotate your toes towards the left, and then you're going to rotate your toes towards the back, and you're going to do a Warrior 1 on the second side. So if you need to readjust, go for it. So you can take this foot even wider out towards me, and then take it even slightly farther forward, and then try to square the hips. Exactly. Now, if that back heel down doesn't feel good, pro tip, you pick the heel up, just do it for me for a second, and then stack it over the toes. So turn it the other way. High lunge. Warrior 1 is totally optional. High lunge is always a possibility if you don't feel right. So here, pick the heel up and turn the toes forward. Other way, other way. That forward towards the back of the mat. Forward towards the back of the mat, right? Makes perfect sense. Shoulders down the spine. Great. Now, big breath in here. Exhale. Extend that left knee. Rotate back towards the front of the mat, slowly on the feet. Step that back foot towards the front foot. Feet parallel. And now, slowly begin to bend the knees. Take the hands to the thighs. Turn the elbows outward and turn your fingertips in. So it's going to look kind of like that, by that, fingertips in, elbows out. Tuck the chin round through the spine. Drop weight towards the heels by tucking the tailbone towards the knees. Now, if you want to reach down and grab one of those bricks, great. If not, no big deal. Take the bricks between the thighs. Hug the brick with the thighs. Soften the toes so you can spread them, and then begin to press through the heels into the toes as you take the hands off the bricks and reach the arms forward. Navel draws in. If you want to reach the arms up, that's fine, but don't lift the chin. Keep the eyes gently looking forward or towards the ground slightly. Inhale here. Exhale, bend the knees a bit deeper. We want to make sure that we build a little bit of energy. Now, here, take your feet slightly more close together because your feet are wider than your knees. Yes, so make sure your feet are directly under your knees. Awesome. Good adjustment. From here, turn the toes in a bit. Oh, it's a bit. You don't have to have the brick that wide. You can do it smaller. It's good. These are good things to all know. Now from here, slowly begin to fold forward, reach, take the brick out, and then sit all the way down to the ground as easily or as not easily as you can. Ooh. Cool. If you've got, stick your legs out in front of you, gentlemen. Boom. Fall down if you need to. It's totally cool. But through the magic of movie editing, we might edit that out. I'm not sure. Now, if you're extending your legs out and your knees are bent and you can't really flex your ankles, take a brick, sit on that brick, and enjoy that brick. Boom. I'm not going to need that, and I think, oh, no, you're good. No, in fact, everyone sit on a brick. Who cares? Everyone's sitting on bricks today. Yeah, you're great. I, however, won't need one because so sit on a brick because you're going to be over here. Great, there's another brick just so you have it. Now, from here, with the feet out in front of you, take your hands down to the ground beside your thighs. Flex your ankles. Maybe This helps you extend through the legs. So feel the kneecaps engage, like you're engaging the thighs. The kneecaps are pulling up towards the hips. The toes are pulling back. The heels are extending forward. Press into the ground. Take your elbows, hug them in. Slowly lower your chin just 1 or 2 centimeters towards the chest. Try to take your shoulders back and your heart forward. Now, too much. Lift it up. And then take the shoulders back behind you. Exactly. Try to find length in the spine. Now take your hands slightly farther forward to the thighs. If you can't reach them, take your hands to the bricks and push down through the bricks to flex the ankles. Exactly. Now, from here, we're going to start working towards a forward fold. If you need the bricks, another set of bricks, take them with you. Otherwise, walk your hands by the knees, gently press down and begin to fold forward. We're trying not to round through the spine. So instead of reaching with the shoulders, reach with the heart. You might only go 2 or 3 inches. So we're going to do this here for you. Take that, press down through that, press down through that. Take the feet closer together, flex the ankles. Good. Now instead of reaching with the head, lift the chin, take the shoulders back, reach with the heart, press down through the hands. Now, keep it up. Yes. Probably feel a good amount of stretching in the back of the hamstrings. Keep these ankles flexed for more stretch. Breath in, breath out. There's a great forward fold video that we have, a small 10-minute one. You can watch this and come back to this flow. You're going to love it. Now, by now, if you've been holding this for any good amount of time, you might be kind of tired. Raise the shoulders back over the hips. Take the bricks out to the side if you don't need them. Shake your legs out. I'm going to take another one of these bricks for you. And then sit on a brick. Try, if you can, to bring your feet in towards a cross-legged position. Having the hips up might give you some more space. Everyone's doing pretty good. Great. Take your left hand to your right knee. Everyone's like, yeah, this is my left. Take your right hand next to the right hip. Now, automatically, your chest is going to start turning. Shoulders to the ears, shoulders down the spine, navel draws in. And then without looking over your shoulders, use the hands on the ground to take a breath. And then exhale, begin to rotate from the hips, the chest, towards the right. And then using your exhale, in fact, don't turn from the neck. So keep your eyes and your nipples looking in the same way. And then rotate from the shoulders to go a bit deeper into this twist. Can you breathe without hurting yourself? If you want to rotate the head to look over the right shoulder to deepen the twist, that's fine. But don't pull as much as you can. Extend through the arm, extend through this arm, and almost like push. Lift the chin a bit. Breath in, and then exhale, come back to neutral. Move to the second side. So the right hand's going to come to the left knee, and if you're having trouble with your right and your lefts, the left is the one where you make the fingers that you can read it like that. Right hand to left knee, left hand out to the side, shoulders to the ears, shoulders down the spine, navel draws in, and begin to rotate first from the hips, second from the shoulders, and lastly, if you even need it, from the neck. But in the beginning, keep the eyes and the nipples looking in the same direction. Inhale back to neutral. Take the left hand back to the right knee. Inhale, shoulders to the ears. Exhale, shoulders, roll them down the spine, and then open the chest. Let the eyes follow the chest. And then rotate from the shoulders a bit deeper. And if you want to look over that back right shoulder, it's totally unnecessary, but if you want to, you can. Inhaling it back to center. Switching sides, right hand, left knee, left hand slightly in line with the hip or back behind you. Breath in, exhale. Let the twist move the body. Let the breath fuel the twist. Inhaling long, exhaling deep. Coming gently back to neutral. Take the legs out in front of you one more time. Shake them out. And then if you want to take the feet together, knees apart, into what we call Baddha Konasana, go ahead and do that. And in the beginning, if you have tight hips and you just let it sit like this might be plenty. You can take the hands to the ankles or the hands to the shins, let the chin lower. And if that's a lot in the neck, shoulders to the ears, let the shoulders melt down the spine, let the eyes look forward, let the chest look forward. And then you can gently take the hands and just draw energy back so you're opening the chest. And if you want to begin to fold forward from here, that's fine. You don't have to try to get your nose to the ground, but let the heart lead. So draw the shoulders back to hug the spine, and then let the heart start the forward fold. And if this feels really good, hang out here. And if it doesn't, move it back 2 or 3 centimeters. Let everyone in the room pull your nose into the back of your head, lift your chin a lot. And then with the chin lifted, let the heart guide the movement. If you want to take the hands out in front of you and press down into the ground and then lower the heart even farther, that's fine. If you can't, try not to round through the spine, but use the pressure through the fingertips to open the chest even more. Hug the elbows inward and fold from there. Breath in, breath out. Navel draws in, draw the shoulders back over the hips. Take the hands under the knees, scoop them together. Take the brick out from under the butt, sit it back down. Come towards the front of the mat. Knees bent, feet flat on the ground. You took the brick out, you're gonna roll. Take your hands onto your knees. You can lift the elbows. You can take the hands behind the knees too if that's available. Tuck the chin and then roll back 1 vertebrae at a time so you feel the spine unwinding onto the mat. Now, if this is where you want to end, fantastic. We're very close, but don't do it just yet. Reach down for that brick. If you have 2 bricks, even better. Take 1 brick. Oh, you have them, that's fine. Take 1 brick between your knees. Take the other brick. And then take the brick that's the smallest distance and put it between your knees. Don't have the long one. Have a small one. Things you say in yoga class. And then from here, take the other brick next to you. Take the elbows bent next to the ribs. And what you're going to do is engage the navel so it presses down into the ground and it lifts the tailbone. And begin to lift the tailbone 1 vertebrae off the time until your weight is in the elbows, in the shoulders, and in the feet. Breath in here. Exhale. Take that second brick, place it under your back, whatever distance feels right, so the flat bone at the bottom of the spine is supported by the brick. Now, if you have a long brick, the long side, you can put it on that. If you have a very open back, you can take it to the top side. Play with what feels right. And if this brick between the knees is too much, you can either drop it or you can take it out. Regardless of what you do, let the knees fall in towards each other. Let the feet be a little wider and let the hands relax. Hopefully this feels really good. This position, this supported bridge pose, it's a nice way to allow yourself to let the lower back relax. Let's just try this. Take the brick away, take the feet wider than the hips, take the knees, hang them in towards each other. It should be relaxed. You're just trying too hard. Just chill out, man. You're doing good. He's chilling. He's working hard. You don't have to work too hard here. This can be relaxed. This can be released. Don't worry about holding on. Think about slowly letting go of the things you don't need and keeping awareness on the things that you do. Everyone else looks pretty comfortable and relaxed. Hopefully at home you're feeling the same way. Slowly begin to lift the hips off of the brick. Navel draws in. To do that, slide the brick off and then put the back 1 vertebrae at a time back onto the floor. Hug the knees into the chest. And you can tuck the chin and you can rock forward and back small just to massage the spine. Keeping the knees hugged in, let the knees hang to the left, maybe even onto the ground, and you can have the arms come out to a T and look over your right shoulder. This is a very, very challenging pose called easy twist. I know, it was a joke. The most important thing to think about is letting the legs hang. If you want to hug the knees closer into the ribs for a deeper stretch, great. If it's too much, you can open the knees and just let your body tell you what you need to do here. Take a few breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And as you like, begin to hug the knees back into the chest, roll onto your spine, and then roll onto the second side. So the knees are going to hang, turn towards the right, arms stay open, you look over your left shoulder. And if you keep knocking bricks over or sliding around on your mat, don't worry, you're at the comfort of your own home. So don't worry about how it looks. Just bring awareness to how it feels, and it should feel good. If you want to adjust the hips so that the knees can hang more onto each other, you just pick up the hip and you slide it back so the hips are stacked. Now you can very much end your practice here by rolling onto your back and extending your legs and hanging out, but we're gonna do one more pose. Roll onto your spine, take your feet together and your knees apart, and then you can take 1 brick under each knee if it's too much, and you can support those knees into what we call a supta Baddha Konasana or a reclined Baddha Konasana. And this is a nice way to open up tight hips. If you want to fall asleep, this is a great place to do it. And if this feels great, feel free to let the rest of the video play out as you listen to the dulcet tones of my teaching voice. Or if you want to pause and just be in this pose for a bit before going to the final resting pose, Shavasana, all you have to do is allow yourself to be here. If you want to go to Shavasana, scoop your hands under your knees, bring them back together, and then slowly extend one leg and then another leg so the feet are just wider than hip distance. Take the arms out, maybe like a 10, 20 centimeters in front of the outside of the hips. Let the feet hang out to the side, let the palms relax. And enjoy this final resting pose. If you are here and your lower back feels uncomfortable, bend your knees, feet wide, let your knees hang into each other, and let the lower back relax and release. Otherwise, just stay lying here with the eyes closed. You can take one hand to your navel, one hand to your heart, and you can finish this practice the way that it started, one breath at a time. Inhaling long, exhaling deep, and allowing yourself to be here now. My name is Daniel Scott. This is UDAYA.com, and this is Average Joga.